No, not at all. I'm just trying to help you out while I'm trying to create small talk while you.
Yeah, go ahead. Create small talk. Who's checking in? Go ahead.
So,
call them out. Shout outs.
So I see you. I'm gonna get people's names wrong, and then they're gonna be like,
I don't know what that says, but that's Kenny. Hey, Kenny.
There you go. See, there you go. You set me up. See,
Right.
You set me up. Yeah, give some shout outs, and then the first one's in a language.
Thank y'all. If you guys are tuning in, share this video. Matter of fact, you guys, let me know. Can you see? Like, do you just see the wall? Because yesterday we did it, and all you could see was the wall, and everybody was popping in and popping out. And that's all you could see. You couldn't see nobody facing anything. So if you're popping in, let me know if you can see us. Like, can you see me? Can you see him? Or do you just see the wall? Because
what do you see on there?
let me see one more time. Hold on. I gotta.
Shawnie and I go way back while she's doing that.
Yeah. Tell them how far back.
I taught her when she was 2 years old. Oh, there's Drew. Hey, Drew, I've seen you since 1912 either.
Right.
He has like 13 children, 4 wives.
Right.
He's doing all right. He's doing all right. It happens.
What's up, Drew? What's going on?
So, Shawnie went to high school. I taught her. Well, she sat in the room while I tried to teach her. I guess is probably the better.
Don't come for me because you're lying. Okay.
I don't think she actually learned anything.
Let me tell you because I'm glad you're not my teacher no more, so I can tell you exactly what we hated. Hey, yo, if anybody had him as a teacher, ask me if I'm lying. You used to assign us.
Here we go.
Different papers, right? And we would spend so much time on our paper only for you to give us a C. I used to hate it. I'm like, gee, stop it. I'm never a C. Never do I ever get C's. Like, no.
Well, she left out the part where you could fix your paper as many times as you wanted to.
I'm not here for it.
Ain't no one trying to do that. Ain't no one trying to do that.
And now that I understand you're all about personal development, I understand. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Right. Drew know what I'm talking about. I used to be mad.
Wait, what is that? Oh, 100. Oh, of course.
Yeah. So thank y'all for tuning in to the On My Grind series segment. This is round 2. It looks like you guys can't see because I checked and Drew also told me that we're here. So we're going to keep this thing going. Once again, we do this to inspire you guys. You know, people that are kind of hesitant to starting their dreams, hesitant to following what they want to do in life or a profession, whatever it is, going back to school. We're trying to let you know that it is possible. All things are possible. You have no limits. Without any further ado, we're going to start the interview process. And as you are here, please share this video because if it's not touching you, it definitely will touch somebody else. Mr. Walker, Mr. Charles Walker.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I would love to stop calling you Mr. Walker, but
can.
It's kind of hard, you know? Anyways, can you let them know who you are? Who you are, what do you do, what's your mission?
All right. Well, I think you already know who I am. My name is Charles Walker. I run the Charles Walker Band. I started about 15 years ago. And you wanted to know what my mission is?
Yeah.
The mission is this. The Charles Walker Band is a household name, selling 15 million albums worldwide because we have reinvented the genre of soul and been named #1 must-see live act by Rolling Stone magazine by July 22nd, 2020.
That's the mission. I like that. I like that. So at what point did you realize that you wanted to brand yourself and put yourself out there? Because I know you've been in music a very long time. When did you decide to go full blast and just get out of it?
So the first thing is you could, at some point, if you need to smack me and say, you know what, you already said that. I can't remember if I said it yesterday or if I said it earlier in the interview. So just be like, you know what, shut up, and I'll be fine. So I started the band 15 years ago, but I really started to take it seriously about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And you asked me what was the reason?
Yeah, like what made you want a brand?
Well, I think we talked about this. I think it was yesterday. I think the gateway drug for me for personal development was The Secret. It is a powerful book, movie, audiobook, whatever. I always caution people. I put it with the grain of salt of it's not everything. It's not the beginning and end. You can't just get The Secret and be like, okay, I understand everything, I'm going to rock and roll. It's a great way to start, but if that's all the information you have, it's kind of like knowing that 2 + 2 is 4,
right,
but not knowing why 2 + 2 is 4. And if I say, okay, what about 3 + 2? You're like, I don't know, I just know that 2 + 2 is 4.
Right.
So it is a great place to start, but it's not a great place to end. But that really opened my eyes to the fact that there was so much more for me than what I was doing. And I was, up until that point, I was waiting for what I call Superman to save me.
Right.
I was waiting for the record producer to come to me, knock on my door and say, hey, I brought this contract with a bag of money. I'd like to give you a bag of money, and I'd like to magically make all of your problems go away.
Right.
And everything is just going to be easy from here on out, and you won't have to worry about any transition. You can stop teaching, and you'll have a bank full of money for the rest of your life, and someone to always take care of all the things you don't want to take care of.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. Although we said this, I'm not going to smack you. Don't smack me because I'm going to say the same stuff I said yesterday too. This is a redo. First of all, let's give some shout outs to the people that are tuning in. I see Bam Bam. That's actually Benny Felder.
Oh, Benny,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So what's up, Benny?
going on,
B, I
Benny?
saw you checking in. Conrad, what's up, love? But back to what you were saying, The Secret. The Secret is a very powerful book. It really helped me as well. Like, talking about the law of attraction and how, what you are is what you're going to attract. Just like Speak Life, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So when you speak those negative things, you can expect to see negative things happen in your life. Vice versa, if you speak the positive things, you can expect to identify with more positive stuff in your life. Mm-hmm. And that is like a major step for you, with anything that you're doing with business. So personal development is everything with that. So, I completely agree. So far along your journey, like what's been your best, what's the best part of it?
Well, you're talking about musically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Or anything, yeah. But
I think one of the highlights is anytime someone comes up to us and tells us how much the show meant, how it helped them. I'm going to say something different than I said yesterday.
Okay, go ahead.
In case anybody is watching again.
Right.
There is a part of the show that we do right at the end where we talk about the lyrics to one of the songs, and we secretly make it feel a little bit like a church service. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not. It's not a church service. We're not talking about God. We're not talking about any particular religion. But it feels a little bit like that because we're talking about difficult things in life, and we're talking about the challenges we have in life.
Right.
And in the lyrics of the song, we talk a little bit about. It talks about the path being dark, and in that I say, when that path seems dark, when life hits you and knocks you down, it's really easy to look down this path and say, I don't know what I'm going to do, and just want to give up. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that you're looking at the wrong thing. There might not be enough light right now to see the end of the pathway or to see the top of the staircase, but there is always enough light to see the next step.
Right.
To be able to, if nothing else, make a phone call to a friend and say, hey, I need some help, or you know what, let me get on Google and try and look for this next job or whatever it happens to be. There's always enough light to do that, and from there, you'll see the next step and the next step. And a lot of people don't come to concerts expecting to hear that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they love it because you go to a concert, but that doesn't mean that everything in your life is magically fixed.
Right.
You still came with a lot of baggage. You got in a fight with your significant other, or you're worried about paying the next bill, or whatever it happens to be. And so I think one of the most meaningful things to me is when people come up to me and say, you know what, that really helped me right now because that hit me where I live right now. I'm going through some stuff, and your concert lifted me up, and those words really helped me to know that when I go back home, I don't need to worry about everything. I can just worry about what the next thing is, and I can move on from there.
Right. That's real powerful, and I like that too. And I think it's imperative for you to highlight on that because, like I said yesterday, you guys do have an energy about you when you get up there. You guys aren't just playing instruments. You're not just playing the instrument that you like, but there's a love, there's a glory, inside of what you guys produce and shoot out there. Like I remember yesterday, you were telling the story where, I thought that story was so powerful. You guys went all the way to Atlanta, and aside from all the other bands that were playing, there were 5 people. Mm-hmm. And you guys played like it was 5,000 people. You know what I mean? And I think it's just imperative for people to realize how powerful that is, to be able to give your all and love what you do to the point where it doesn't matter how many people show up, you're going to do your best.
And I think for that, the key is, because I think a lot of times when people see interviews with whoever, musicians, speakers, whatever, and they hear stories like, oh yeah, he spoke amazingly for a few amount of people, or he was tired, or whatever it happened to be. You have to remember that every one of those artists, or every one of those speakers, or whoever it happens to be, is still a human being, and it's not that they magically have all of this energy, it's that they got their mind right before they got up there. So if you're in that place right now where you're working on your business and it's tough, and I'm there right now with you, you have to get your mind right. And that's why we were talking before about personal development and affirmations or meditation, whatever you like to do. You have to have your mind right. Otherwise, it's going to be super easy to just dial it in and just say, well, I made some calls and it just didn't work out, or, I did whatever your business happens to be, and it didn't work out today.
Right.
But was your mind there? Was your mind right? Were you ready to get up there and do what you really needed to do?
Absolutely. For you guys that are tuning in, thank you for tuning in. Please hit that share button so we can not only inspire you, we want to inspire your friends as well. I think that's very powerful. In contrast, like, what's a hurdle or what's a struggle that you've had to deal with along your journey, and how did it impact you? How did you get over it?
I'm gonna say a different thing again in case somebody new is watching. One of the toughest things that I'm still dealing with is when you're in leadership, it's really, really tempting to believe that you have to have all the ideas and that your ideas are always the best ideas, and that if you don't know what you're doing all the time, and you let the people that work for you know that you're going to look like a fool. In reality, you are not always going to know what you're doing. In reality, all of your ideas are not always the best ideas.
Right.
And the most secure leaders are the ones who say, you know what, I don't know what's going on right now. Let's talk about what's going on and how can we fix it.
Right.
Or, you know what, I had these ideas that didn't work. Let's open this back up to try and figure out what are some new ideas to move us forward. Because if you can get to the place where it's all about the results and everything is results driven, then it doesn't have to be about you. You can look and say, you know what, I've been working on this for 3 years, and my goal was $100,000 a year, and I've gotten $30,000 in year 1, $30,000 in year 2, and $30,000 in year 3,
Right.
or maybe $32,000 right now. My results are not working. What I have been doing is not working. For most people, they think, well, if I just work harder doing the same things, then I'm going to get better results. No. If you work harder, you're just going to burn out faster and not get any different results.
Right.
It's time to begin to reassess. It's time to begin to figure out what's a better way of doing this.
Yep, absolutely. That's like, if you do not focus on getting better, you can't expect for your situation to change. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody says it, it's a cliche, but in order to get somewhere that you haven't been, you got to do some things you haven't done. You know what I mean? And if you're not working on yourself every day, if you're not trying to get better, then you're not going anywhere. You're in an idle place. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the struggles, because in order to get better, you got to face yourself. You got to look in the mirror, and a lot of people don't want to look in the mirror and see who they really are. A lot of people don't want to take the makeup and the mask off and actually, love on the person that they are. A lot of times people cover themselves up in designer or whatever it is to try to make themselves feel better about themselves or look better. But if you're not becoming better, then what is it for? You know what I mean? He said he's giving facts right now. Eugene, yes, most definitely.
I heard somebody say once, in order to be who you want to be, you're going to have to become so uncomfortable that for most people, they will walk away before they get there. That is so true. You have to be ready to be incredibly uncomfortable, because when you look at, I use Will Smith as an example. When you look at somebody like Will Smith and you admire them, you say, man, I wish I could be like them.
Right.
In order to do that, you're going to have to become a completely different person. You're going to have to become so uncomfortable in doing things that you've never done before and trying things and failing, that for most people are like, screw this, I'm going to go back to numbing my mind and like popping a beer open as soon as I get home and watching 3 hours of TV to try and forget about the fact that I hate my life.
Yes.
So either way, it's uncomfortable, so you might as well choose the discomfort that gets you to where you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people, settle like, or they equate, how much money they're making is to their happiness. You know what I mean? As long as I'm working a job and they're paying me $15, $16, I'm okay. But are you happy with what you're doing? You know what I mean? Or, can you see yourself doing that your entire life? Like, is that what you want? Like, are you okay with that? And a lot of people say no. But then again, when they get home, like you said, they're turning on the TV, they're looking at the shows, they're, calling up their friends, they're talking about nothing. Like, they're not putting themselves in a place that's going to get them anything greater than what they already have.
And that's actually, you had asked me before about something I wanted to talk about. I think a key thing is this: who are you surrounding yourself with?
Oh, yeah.
Because if you go home and you call up your friends and your friends are like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm doing jack right now.
Right.
And that's the same stuff that I've been doing the past 3 weeks. You're not going to be inspired to do anymore. And what's more important, the one time you try and step out, they're going to be like crabs. If you know the crab effect, you put in, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't have a bucket of crabs at home. I mean, I'm guessing it's true. Everybody says it.
Yeah.
You put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, and if one tries to get out, all the other ones will start to try and pull him down.
Yep.
that is what your friends will do. And it's not even because they're hating on you. It's because you're making them uncomfortable. When
Yeah.
they look at you and they say, oh man, you know what, he's
Yep.
actually going for it. They get uncomfortable inside because that makes them question, why am I not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Why am I not going out there? And so what are they going to do? They're going to be like, you can't do that, man.
Yep.
You can't be Will Smith. You can't be Beyonce. You can't be whoever. Get back. I know where you came from.
Yep.
I saw you hustling out on the
Right,
street 2
exactly,
weeks ago. You can't do
exactly.
that. And they're going to pull you back down. So part of what you're going to have to do is start to find some higher quality people.
Yep.
Right here. Right here.
Right here.
Because until you do that, you're going to not only fight with what's in here, you're going to fight with all those other people
Yep.
around you that are trying to pull you down too.
Yep. That's absolutely true. I mean, it's so many different ways. They tell us that birds of a feather flock together, or just the one that sticks out to me the most is that you can tell which direction your life is going by the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You know what I mean? What are those people? The 5 people that you spend the most time with, what are they doing? You know what I mean? What direction is their life going? You know, what do their pockets look like? What does that discipline look like? You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell so much, and the sad part is a lot of times when you get into a place where you want to better yourself, there's people that you used to be around that have seen you do X, Y, Z that just don't understand, and they can't comprehend this change, and they think that you're changing and treating them some type of way when you're actually changing for the better. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, they want to call you fake. And it's not, you're not being fake.
Right.
You're growing, and they're not growing with you. And what that means is it's time to find some other people that are willing to grow. Because it doesn't just happen in friendships, it happens, unfortunately, in romantic relationships, too.
Right.
If one person grows and the other person doesn't, at some point, either the other person has to be willing to grow or the relationship isn't going to go anywhere, because you have to be like this. You can't be like this.
Right.
Otherwise, the connection is gone. There's no real connection.
Right. Absolutely. I saw Quentin checked in. He said, Mr. Walker from the 9th grade, you
Oh, here we
inspired
go.
him to start his music. No, that's tight.
Oh, I thought he was about to talk some mess. Okay.
He said you're part of the reason he started his music.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, you remember like when he had the long dreads. Y'all remember his dreads was
Here we
like
go.
down his back, and it was like 1 over here and 2 on this side.
I rented those out now. That's what they are. That's my side business. It's renting on my dreads.
And he had 5 to 10 dreads in his head.
Wait, hold up. Now we're throwing shade? Are you sure?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Nope.
Okay, she's not ready for this. She's not ready for this.
Next question. How do you define failure?
I think it's simple. Failure is giving up. Everything else is just learning.
Right.
When you look at life that way, then failure disappears, because when we look at children, we don't define failure as, you know what, you tried and you messed up. If the first time we look down at a baby and the baby falls down from walking, we're like, shh, might as well give that up now. Clearly you can't do it. Or the first time the baby tries to say mama and they say llama or something, we're not like, you stupid idiot, go sit down somewhere. You don't know how to talk.
Right.
No, we're like, try again, try again. We encourage them because we know that with time, their potential is limitless, and they can learn how to speak, they can learn how to walk. But somehow when we get to be grown, all of a sudden, we have developed this mindset of, if I'm not good at it right away, it means that it's not for me. No, if it's built inside of you, if it's what gets you excited, if it's what really gets you up in the morning to be like, yeah, let me do this, then it doesn't matter. Failure is not permanent unless you make it permanent. Everything else is just a learning experience. So when you try and it doesn't work out, what do? You sit down and you say, what worked? What didn't work? Okay, those things didn't work. And then if it's a matter of trying the same thing again just because the circumstances weren't right, that's great. If it's time to begin to reassess and say, you know what, it didn't work because I need to change this, this, and this, that's cool too. But you have to, ultimately, that's absolutely true. Failure is an option, it's a choice. Otherwise, everything else is just feedback. It's just a way of saying, you know what, I didn't learn enough yet, I didn't grow enough yet, I'm not ready for this. And I think that's what's powerful for me, and that's what helps me sometimes when I have these setbacks, is if you look at people, I'm in the music realm primarily, and when you look at people who aren't ready and ultimately get thrown into the ring, so you see some American idols who, they weren't really the people they needed to be before they became famous, or even some one-hit wonders or people like that, and they self-destruct, and we ask ourselves the question, what happened to them?
Right.
Why did they have such short-lived careers? When you look at somebody like Beyonce or Bruno Mars or Prince or Stevie Wonder, who have these epic careers.
Right.
They grew into the people that they needed to be in order to maintain that level of success. Those people who self-destruct, they did that because they weren't ready. That's what happens when you get into a position that you're not ready for, is you will sabotage yourself back into comfort. Lottery winners do that all the time. They win the lottery, and then we turn around and a year later, they're broke. It's because they self-sabotage themselves because they didn't really believe that they deserved the money. They didn't really believe that they could be a person who could handle money well. And so they did everything they could to get back into their comfort zone, which was being broke.
Right, exactly. And it's funny that you say that because I think there's so many people that look at success and they see the end goal, you know. And because they see that end goal so vivid, they don't realize that failure is a process of success. It's a part of success. Like you cannot be success if you haven't failed. Because if you haven't failed, then what defined your success? So it's not only just defining failure, but actually defining success. What is that? It's not that end goal. Success is the process. It's you setting goals and repetitively accomplishing them over and over and over and over and failing and starting and failing and starting over and over and over. And I just think it's imperative for people because a lot of people, you know, they're hesitant to start their businesses simply because they're hesitant to fail. But until you can fall in love with failing, you'll never be able to reach success.
And the thing is, stop waiting. We talked about this yesterday. Stop waiting for circumstances to be perfect. Well, you know, when my kids are grown or have some sense, or when I have a little bit more money, or when blah, blah, blah. No, it's never going to be perfect.
Never.
You just need to start. And you know what? It's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. People are going to be like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
Who cares? You know, that's what happens to all of us. That's what happens to me. That's what I'm sure Shawnie's experienced the same thing. It doesn't matter. It's going to be messy and it's going to be ugly. Embrace it and say, you know what? I'm willing for the first 2 years to just be like, this is going to be real awkward. It's going to be real messy. And just start.
Yep.
Start where you are with what you have.
Yep.
And as you go, be willing and open to learn. Because yes, if you get started and you're not willing to learn, then yeah, it's going to be messy and you're going to fail.
Exactly.
And you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say it's going to be messy, but along the way, I'm going to learn. I'm going to feed my mind every day. I'm going to take all the advice that I can. If I can find a mentor, I'm going to look for a mentor. All of those things.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like there's no perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. A lot of people say, well, I'm just going to wait until this happens or it's a lot of stuff going on. There's going to always be a lot of stuff. Me and you had a conversation yesterday about how rough your year has been going and how rough my year was last year. Like there's always going to be life. Life is going to hit you over and over, but how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
How bad do you want to succeed? How bad do you really want to change your life? How bad are you willing to wait and do the same thing over and over for 5 to 7 to 10 years in order for you to see some growth? You know what I'm saying?
And when you said that, it's so important that people understand. It's not, we live in a culture of today.
It's
see
not
what you did?
there.
No, it's not how it works. It was not like that. It took a long time. Same thing with what's his name from since we're talking about computers now, from Apple. The same
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Same thing. It was not a matter of in a year all of a sudden. That's part of the process.
Yep.
It took us a long time to walk. It took us a long time to talk. It took us a long time, for me anyways, to learn math. It's the same thing for when you're working on your dreams. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you think it is, you're going to get really frustrated really fast.
Right.
When we're talking about the law of attraction, it happens when it happens. Right. And the things that you attract into your life, even when they get there, if you're not ready for them, they're not going to work out right. You have to be ready for them. So when you attract them in, you can meet up. It's like this instead of like this, like we were talking about before.
That goes into the next question. So you mentioned like studying people that are successful, which I always tell people, you know, if you really want to be successful, study the people that you can look up to. My question is, who do you look up to?
Well, one of the things that I remember, one of the first books I started really reading and listening to was Napoleon Hill, The Science of Getting Rich. Is that The Science of Getting Rich? No, that's Think and Grow Rich. And I always say with that book, it is a comprehensive book, but for a lot of people, it's a difficult read because it was written like in the early 1900s, and it is a slower read. It's a powerful book, but it's a slower read. But one of the things that he talks about is he didn't just have one person that he looked up to because we're all human. And so what one person's really big strengths are, someone else has some different strengths to look up to. So one of my biggest influences is Prince. And he had some really great strengths, but there's also some really big failings that I recognized that could have made him even greater. And I know a lot of people are like, how could he have been greater? He could have been greater. He could have been greater than what he was. So there are some things that I look up to for Prince, and one of the biggest things for him was discipline. The man, I don't think I could see anyone who could be more disciplined than he was and more serious about his career. When I look at somebody like Beyonce, it's the same thing. As I've listened to her book, discipline is the #1 thing for her. And being so laser focused, like she had a very specific vision. And at 8 years old, she was ready to fire someone in her group. At 8 years old, she was like, this girl's not carrying her own weight. She's got to go. So there are a lot of people. Will Smith is another one. I look at Will Smith because he comes from the same background as me. He says, I'm not the most talented person out there, but I work harder than anybody else. That's the same thing for me. Musically, I'm not one of these people that can just pick up an instrument and like that. I'm
You
cranking
called,
out.
though, so don't go there.
But it took me a long time. And every instrument that I learned, it's taken me a long time to get there. So I identify with Will Smith when it comes to work ethic. When I think about positivity, Les Brown. I've been listening to Les Brown since I was a child.
Really?
Since my mom, that was one of the first
Lucky
things.
you.
My mom was in Amway. Nobody knows what that is anymore. It's not even a thing. It changed into something else. But she listened. I was listening to him when I was a kid, and I always connected. And he always made me feel better. Every time I listened to him, I was like, yeah, I can go out and do this. I can go out and do this. So, Les Brown.
Yeah, I love Les Brown. I love all the people that you just named. Actually, I haven't studied Prince though. I can say that. I looked a little bit with him, and his perspective was so interesting. Like one of the things he always said was he doesn't count birthdays. He doesn't celebrate birthdays. He doesn't count birthdays because he would rather grow and become better without knowing how old he is. That's how he stays young, you know? So yeah, Prince definitely had an amazing perspective, and Les Brown, you know, I try to get a little piece of him every day. Every day. Les will hit it right on the nail, like definitely. If there is somebody watching right now, you know, you've kind of given some already, but if there's somebody watching who either started a business, but it was a soft start and, you know, they kind of gave up towards the beginning, or they're looking to start their business, what type of advice can you give somebody? Or, you know, just going into the field that they want, music, whatever it is. What type of advice can you give them?
Well, I think the first thing is be ready to just, that it's going to feel not real for a little while. I know I talked about this yesterday, but when you first start your business and you start talking to people about it, if you get a business card printed and you kind of slide it over, you're going to feel like this isn't a real business. Like, you know, if you walk into Target, that's a real business, or you walk into this auto body shop, that's a real business. Right. But, you know, this isn't a real business because I started it. It's going to feel that way. But the sooner you can begin to see, no, as soon as you envisioned it and you begin to take action on it, it's a real business. If you have 0 customers or 1 customer or 12 customers, if you are working on it, it is a business. And then you have to begin to take it seriously, because for a lot of people, what they don't realize is, what I hear all the time is, you know what, I need to start my own business because I can't handle my boss. Here's the thing. When you stop having a boss, you become your own boss. And then the only person you can blame for your failure or your lack of business is you. And so you have to begin to say, am I the kind of boss that I would want? Am I the kind of boss that says, you know what, every 5 minutes you can't get up and look at your phone to see if you got a text, and go back to the refrigerator if you're working at home and check and see, you know, what you want to eat, and then go and look out the window for... No, your boss isn't going to let you do that. If that's your idea of what a good boss is, you better stay where you are right now. You have to be willing to become the boss that says, you know what, for the next hour, I'm grinding this out. And there's no excuses. Let me turn off my phone. Let me turn off Facebook and just grind on this. And then after that hour's up, I can take my 5-minute break, get me some water, whatever it happens to be, and then go back to it again. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to understand that 8-hour days are gone. All right? Maybe someday, I haven't gotten to that point where you can go back to 8 hours a day. But when I'm listening to this Beyonce stories, she will rehearse 12 hours a day. She will rehearse 12 hours a day. She is there before anyone gets there practicing. And when everybody else is gone, she's still there. When she's recording, there's stories where she is there either recording something, listening to somebody else, listening to playbacks, and studio engineers will change out, but she's still there. So a studio engineer will have been there for 12 or 13 hours. She stays, and a new studio engineer comes in because the other one's too tired to keep working.
Right.
So you have to be ready. And that's not just going to be for a month or 2 months. I've been doing this now. I work between 12 and 14-hour days, I would say, easily. There are times where I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and 9 o'clock at night I'm done. And when I say that, that's not saying, oh yeah, and then I spent 3 hours on Facebook. No. I'm talking about working, and working looks differently for everybody. Right. Rehearsing, for me, counts as work. Going to shows and all that stuff, all that counts as work. Right. But 12, 14-hour days, you have to be ready for that. When you become an entrepreneur, it's not less work at first, it's more work, and usually for less money, until you build this business up. And so if you have this mindset of, oh, I'm going to be rich right away and I'm going to have it easier, it's not the case. You have to be ready to work and work and work and work, and be willing to take that feedback, internalize it, and say, what am I doing? What can I do better?
Yep. That's really good advice. Really good advice. Because that, you know, people don't realize, just like what you said, you know, you're the only one that you can hold yourself accountable, you know? And if you want to be your own boss, you know, can you tell yourself, okay, no, I'm not about to go to my friend's house for, you know what I mean? I'm not about to go out tonight. I'm not, you know, like, you really got to discipline yourself. Discipline is everything. Who's one person that you would like to collaborate with that you haven't had a chance yet to?
Well, it looks like it should be happening this year, but I'd like to collaborate with Bruno Mars. We met a couple of producers. It's a long story. In the process of getting a letter to Stevie Wonder, a couple of producers heard us and were interested in working with us. And so they've already contacted Stevie, actually, about being on our next album, and Elton John and Bruno Mars. And all of that is good to go as long as the executive producer can find the investors for the project to bring these people on.
Right.
Bruno Mars is the guy.
Yeah, and he's doing amazing things right now.
He is.
He's doing a lot, you know, and he's hitting the ground running. Him and Cardi, they're just going crazy, like really going crazy. And I think that would be an amazing collab, like on so many levels. You know, I think you guys would do really well together. Last question is, who do you want the world to remember you as?
I want to be the person who inspired others to take the next step, to grow, to become better, because that's everything we do, at least everything that I do, that's my goal, is to leave the world a better place than it was, and to help us all grow into better people so we can leave it better for the next generation and they can pick it up from there and continue to grow. Because as a species, that's how we've survived, is in our ability to grow, develop, adapt, and survive, because we're not the strongest thing on the planet. Sometimes I question whether they're the smartest thing on the planet, but we have learned to adapt and to grow. Yeah. And so my goal is to inspire people to do the same, to take the next step and to be the best version of themselves that they can be today, and then don't settle for that, but to continue to become the next better version of themselves tomorrow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that should always be our goal, you know, not to just focus on ourselves or not to just see ourselves in a certain place, but to actually make an impact on the world. That's always the goal. Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and coming back.
Thank you for having
round 2. You know, which is round 1 to them, but
right.
Thank you for that. Plug yourself. Let them know where they can find you.
All right. Well, my band's website is Walker, WALKER, band, BAND.com. If you want to, I didn't actually mention this time, but I'm also a graphic designer. So if you want to check out my graphic design business, it's Freed, FREED, MD, freedmd.com. It stands for freedmind.com. You can check out my graphic design. You can also just go to my Facebook page and connect with me there. I was also a band page, but if you connect with me on Facebook, you can find out all that information. And then tonight, for all you folks who are in Milwaukee, I'm going to put in my shameless plug. Come on down. We're doing a Valentine's Day party with Valerie B and the boys.
Yes.
We'll be the big band tonight, which means we'll have a horn section, guitar player, all that stuff.
Cool.
The show is, it's come a long way. If you haven't seen us in a while, it's come a long way. And if you saw our appearance on Morning Blend, we will be doing that song. We released an album a couple of months ago, and one of the songs on it is called Valentine, so we'll be, of course, doing that song for the show tonight.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure that you drop it in the comments, all of
Okay.
where they can find you. Drop it in the comments.
I will.
Guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, and we will reply. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Shout out Heather. I see you haven't seen her like since we graduated.
Heather who?
Yeah, that's Shrunky.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a minute. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. As you drop in, share this video. We're just aiming to inspire you guys. And we'll see you next time. Till then, peace.
Peace.